It's easy to feel productive when you're gaining insight, but execution is the real progress. It's time to move on from I understand myself to I act differently. Hi there, and welcome to today's discussion. My name is Kanchefu, and here we talk about personal development, in particular, life after therapy. If you're new here, make sure you press subscribe, but if not, welcome back. So, let us begin. So if insight alone doesn't create change, what does? I really want to challenge the belief that understanding leads to progressing, because there's a gap between knowing and then doing. I've also fallen prey to it as well. And that gap is just purely execution. I'll give a bit of insight and backstory to my own flaws in this area. Along my multiple year personal development journey, I thought in me meditating, in me reading books, in me ticking off the checklist that I've worked on myself, I'll achieve my goals. Not only because my mental health was getting better and I felt more confident in myself, but on the other end, that confidence and self-belief grew so much, I genuinely thought I wouldn't have to take action on my goals to make them happen, because they'll just come through who I am. Oh boy, how I was wrong. I didn't realize the execution element. I realized the understanding myself. I realized the visualization aspect, the belief aspect, but not actually do anything about it until that all changed. It's very easy to accumulate insight or change your perspective, but not actually apply it. The way we scroll online and we see this new idea, this motivational post, and we internalize it for that one split second and we move on. Applying is very different, but applying is that next step you need to transform your life, because the awareness aspect creates this illusion that you're progressing forward. And even so, understanding your patterns doesn't change your behavior. And what can happen is that insight can become the substitute for that action. You'd rather seek out more insight, more knowledge, more information than rather do anything about it at all. And that leaves you stagnant. You're in this wonderful place mentally, but what are you going to do with it, about it? That can help you, not only in that internal life, but that aspect of life. It's as almost if the result is knowledge without the transformation. But as we always do with our discussions, that's not what we're going to leave it. Let's create this execution ladder. Let's do something about it. Step one is always identifying or realizing what's at hand, at stake in this present moment. So I encourage you, recognize the specific realization that just happened or occurred, and actually clarify what has been learned. But make sure, don't make it vague. Make it a specific, real, and what I love to say is use language to make it feel as if you're almost touching it. So the next step is to translate that into action. Let's convert this insight, whether you get that from my videos or for somewhere else, into one clear behavior. And I want you to define what must be done from here on forwards, and make the action, once again, specific and repeatable. And that third step is to implement it consistently. Simply apply it to everyday and regular life, so that we're able to remove that reliance on motivation, on giving yourself up. Because what's most important here is focusing on completion rather than perfection. And lastly, track it. Track that evidence. Record your completed actions so that you're able to build this proof of execution. And what you'll see is you'll build that confidence and reinforce that behavior through validity. You see, this is deliberate and intentional execution. This is deliberate habitual actions. These are things that emphasize that you are a person who's moving forward, who's moving on, who's figuring it out and finding a way that works best for them, more specifically yourself. But the fact you're executing and completing that action, much rather than thinking about it or wishing about it and seeing it online or not actually internalize it, that is the same comparison of night and day. So let's give an example to help you out even further. Think about someone who's got multiple insights, who's seen 20 different posts on motivation about how to get their life back on track. They can understand their patterns clearly, the things they do on a day-to-day basis, but they keep repeating those same behaviors. They keep doing the same things that aren't moving them forward or even helping them out, so their situation doesn't change. But if we look on the flip side of that, a person who executes takes one insight and applies it, and they repeat that action consistently. And what happens is their behavior begins to shift. The way they think begins to shift. Their attitude begins to shift. This new being emerges from where they once were. So as your virtual coach currently, I want the same for you. I want one action per insight. And what I mean by that is choose one insight that matters, that you've learned from therapy, that you've learned online, that you've noticed in a book, something that relates to you, and define one action linked to it. What can you do now with this newfound knowledge, and then execute on that action immediately? Then repeat it consistently. And I'm going to add a bit more spice to that. Ignore additional insights until that action is completed fully. Because what we're looking to happen here is to build change through actions, not this accumulation. And that's what I'm going to leave it today. If you enjoyed today's discussion, make sure to press subscribe. And also share this with a friend or family member you know has recently finished therapy, counseling, or treatment. I'm sure they'll enjoy this video. I want to ask you one more question before we leave. What's one insight that changed nothing? If you'd like one-to-one support on understanding insights and what steps to take next, make sure to comment the word reset. My name is Kanchefu once more. Have a good day, morning, night, or evening, and I'll see you next week for our next discussion.